Just a second.
Sure.
I think it's visible now, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so hola, namaste, good morning, and Santa. This is collaborative project between UniOeste, a university from Brazil, and GLA University from India. We are Jayati, Valentina, Emily, and Lalit, and we are going to talk about social linguistics of multilingual society.
So, in the discussion of this amazing topic of multilingualism, we will introduce what is multilingualism and what are the historical roots of multilingualism, especially in the context of India and Brazil, and how these two nations are very diverse in linguistically because they are a society with huge amount of diversity in the language context, and we will also learn what is language and how it works as an identity, culture, and power. While language also plays a role in social setup and how it reflects your governmental policies, constitutional frameworks to preserve kind of those endangered or those important languages through their policies. And then a very trendy topic, that is English dominance, because we both nations share similar colonial history. So we are from English and you are from Portuguese. So this kind of share of dominance, which is also reflected in English language, while also a very new topic to all of us, that is digital multilingualism. We will explore that, and then we will discuss what are the common factors and what are the findings in the end. So Jayati will continue with the next slide.
Hello, good morning and good evening, my respected professors and my dear friends. So, I would like to introduce the topic of the concept of multilingualism. So, the coexistence of two or more languages in our daily life is known as the concept of multilingualism. In countries like India and Brazil, multilingualism grows through culture, contact, migration, trade, where language acts as a tool of cultural identity, social mobility. This presentation will help us to understand how individual and social multilingualism preserve the indigenous and traditional languages in both the countries, as the examples are also mentioned in the corner, like a person in Mumbai using Marathi, Hindi plus English in their daily life, and a person in Manaus using Portuguese and Nigathu plus English online also. Moving to the next slide. Yeah. So the next slide is the historical roots of multilingualism in as an Indian context. So if I talk about the ancient and medieval India, Sanskrit and Prakrit were the languages that were very much dominated in ancient and medieval India. During Buddhism and Jainism were promoting their indigenous languages, which were Pali and Ardh and during the period of Sultanate and Mughal Emperor, Persian and Arabic were the languages that were very much influenced by the Indian people, which leads to the new language known as Urdu by the cultural blending. And if I talk about the colonial India, so in India, English was imposed or introduced by the the Macaulay's Minute 1835. Now, I would like to mention a quote from the Macaulay's Minute by the Lord Macaulay, which is a class of person, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, and in moral and in intellect.
So, talking about it from the Brazilian perspective, can you guys hear me okay? Yes, okay. So, before the colonial period in Brazil, we had over 1,000 indigenous languages in our territory. But later, when the Portuguese arrived, the Portuguese colonizers, they introduced the Portuguese language. But to maintain communication with the indigenous people, they introduced a Tupi based language, which is Língua Geral. which was used as an intergroup communication, which means it was a common ground for both understanding in that period. They used this language mostly missionaries and settlers used it for conversion purposes and for administration to rule the colony in the country. Later on, Portuguese tightened their policies around the Portuguese language and expanded their colonial rules. So it was only allowed for Portuguese use only in the country. We also see a lot of this suppression in language later on in during the Estado Novo period from 1937 to 1945 here in our country, which there was a strict ban on the public use of foreign languages by immigrant languages. During this period of time, we had a lot of migration from other countries looking to flee war, looking for job opportunities. So we had a lot of German, Italian, Japanese, a lot of people that migrated here to the country. And the Decree Law 406 from 1938 prohibited publication in foreign languages, so they weren't able to use it in adverts or newspapers. And later on, more regulations in 1940 banned the use of speaking these languages in public spaces. Families couldn't speak, communicate with each other with these languages, and they were also not allowed to talk in these languages in the radio. So, for example, a German speaking communities were forced to abandon German and shift to Portuguese only, which was very troubling, as you can see.
So, coming to the linguistic diversity in the context of India.
Your microphone is off.
Sorry. So, coming to the Indian context of linguistic diversity, we have a very huge diversity in the context of those languages, traditions, and races. We have 121 recognized, constitutionally recognized languages, and 22 languages which are scheduled in our Constitution of India. That is very amazing because we also have mother tongues, and they are very huge in number. I think it is the world's largest uh, diversity of language in India, where we have 19,500 mother tongues. And this multilingualism in our culture is very prevalent from our ancient traditions and our cultural heritage. This also creates a concept of a spreadbund. That means languages shapes each other. They take their data, their grammatical structures, and mix together. For example, we have Hindi and Urdu. They are very similar in their phonetic level, in their morphic level. Also, they also share the grammatical structure, subject verb agreements, and this kind of concept is very very relevant in the Indian context because we have the huge diversity of languages. Even there is a saying in India like on the every kilometer you will have a different taste of water. That means you will have different kind of culture, different kind of language and dialects. So the diversity in the language context is very huge. Another example is like Indo-Aryan and Dravidian languages. They share common grammatical features. That is a prime example of linguistic diversity in India. And now for the Brazilian context, I will pass on to my friend.
So in Brazil, we have over two, since the last demographic census of 2022, we have 295 indigenous languages and 391 ethnic groups. That is 21 more since the last census was done. And despite Portuguese being our official language here, we have many heritage languages. Like I said, we had many migration process, and we constantly also have here in the country, and also had the process of slavery that happened here. So we have a lot of forced migration from people from African countries. And those languages, those heritage languages, are spoken mixed with Portuguese usually here in the country. For example, Japanese people migrated a lot to São Paulo, so there is Japanese that is spoken in the São Paulo region. We also have German with the Hurunski, which is spoken in Rio Grande do Sul, Santa Catarina. And here in Paraná, we have an example of the city of Prudentópolis, which I visited. Their churches administrate the whole prayer using the Ukrainian language.
So coming to a very important topic, that how language like converts it into the identity, culture, and power, how it reflects these three ideas: identity, culture, and power. For example, language also provides you the sense of belongingness. Like Tamil, Bengali, Hindi, Punjabi, we have huge diversity of languages in every state. Even we have like that concept of State Reorganization Act, which was only like divided the nation, the states on the basis of language. And here, like how it formed the identity. Tamil people will always be prideful of their Dravidian identity, their cultural heritage, and with that language, they wants to preserve that particular identity, which is like entangled with their daily routines, daily life, and how they speak in society, that emerges as their cultural reflection of their pride. While on Bengali side, like Bengali is a language which is spoken in the region of Bengal, West Bengal, where the Bengal is known for the literature and literary traditions, and this is the language which is also related to their cultural and literary tradition. So they are very proud of this tradition, and whenever you see a Bengali person speaking Bengali, you will see the important factors. They are like related to their identity, their history, like their daily routines. They are very proud for their cultural identity and their cultural heritage they preserve through their language. Another position is like it also provides you a social strata. For example, if you belong to an urban place and you are speaking English, then that urban English would be considered as the elite kind of status in the society, because that is very pure, fluent, and very attractive kind of skill you have. But on the other hand, we have tribal languages, which we call as Adivasi languages, which are like marginalized in every context. They are not represented. They are a concept which is not much known to the person, and their folklores, their traditions, their myths, all are like in the endangered condition, just because they are not the first status kind of language. So yeah, it also provides you the social positioning, the status there. Next, it also provides you the culture, memory, heritage. I also talked about Bengal and Tamil. Similarly, if you talk about Punjabi and Bengali folk songs, they are always reflecting the idea of partition of India, which was very brutal for them, which was consuming for them, and it is always related to their traumatic memories of partition of India with Pakistan. And those cultural memories are traveled, are like propagated through their language, how they speak, and in their language, the pain, the sadness, it is always reflected. Like tribal languages are also there, but they preserve the oral traditions, the very important factor of their daily cultural heritage, that is myths and whatever the rituals they follow. Also, language provides you that power to move in the society. It gives you the social mobility opportunity. It also provides you how your like class can be classified through what language you are speaking, in what manner, in what fluency you are speaking. It also gives you opportunities to be get employed in high class MNCs, or even in the foreign. You can learn a language and you can travel foreign countries for your social mobility and your like personal growth. So yeah, language is always considered as a symbol of identity, culture, and power. For the Brazilian context, I will pass this to Emily.
Uh, So talking about the Brazilian perspective, Brazilian Portuguese, it is different from Portuguese from Portugal. So that being said, Brazilian Portuguese is part of the national identity that we have here in our country. It unites us, but many languages are spoken as well as Portuguese. So that shows a sense of belonging, a sense of resistance, and a sense of culture for these people that speak other languages. For example, Guarani is a type of one of the original indigenous languages that are spoken here in the country. It relates to indigenous identity. So it's a form from them to show their identity and to fight against the discrimination they suffered with the imposition of Portuguese here in the country. Nhangatu is from Amazonian heritage, which is part of the uh, modern Tupi Amazonian language. And we have the heritage languages, like I said, we have Japanese, we have Ukrainian, Italian, we have German, so many languages that are spoken here, which show this sense of identity from the person. We also have a sense of social positioning, which is related to power, prejudice, inequality, and usually it relates with accents and variations here in Portuguese. For example, there's North and Eastern accent is seen as low status for some people. And Afro-Brazilian speech has a racialized stigma that came from the process of the slavery that happened here in the country. We also have rural Portuguese, which is viewed as uneducated, which and all these things are just prejudice and negative stereotypes that affect these people, which can affect relating in relation to base job descriptions and academic communities.
So, how this language also plays a role in social setup, that are like very important factors to consider in this context. Like I sorry for the disturbance from behind. Language, like it is also tied to your region, to caste, class. Which language you speak in India, you will always marked as which region you belong, or which class you belong. For example, language also denotes your food choices, your lifestyle, your cultural background, and what are your employments, and how you are educated. In India, we have a different kind of languages. We have various dialects. For example, if you see a person who is speaking Gujarati, there is always a social stigma or social stereotype which is related to that person. If he is speaking Gujarati, then he would be from Gujarat region, and then Gujarat region is very well known for the business class people, for the elite class people, and in their food choices they are vegetarian. So in India, we have seen this concept of vegetarianism and non-vegetarianism. There is always a divide between that. So simply, language also relates to your food choices, to your lifestyle. If a person is speaking Bengali or Tamil or any Assamese language, we will understand that that person belongs to a non-vegetarian region, that is related, and in first instance we will judge that. That is not an like a very normal concept for others. Like if a person who is speaking Punjabi or is speaking Rajasthani, in Rajasthan we also have various dialects, various type of Rajasthani like Mawadi, and those people are also related to the vegetarianism, and their lifestyle is different. They are a farmer, they are laborers. And if you see like a person from Gujarat and a person from Bengal, if you compare both the person, you will see a Gujarati person will always prefer to do a business, to like have a social mobility in easy context. But a Bengali person will always prefer to be employed under some kind of MNCs, or some kind of private job, or they will also prefer some kind of government jobs which are provided by the government. So whenever you see a person who is speaking that language, for example, if we are speaking Hindi, then Hindi is like majorly speaking language in India, and you cannot directly identify which person it belongs to which region, but there are difference in accent, and that is a key feature of any language, which idealizes what are the kind of person, what are the lifestyle, what are your routines, and from which region you belong. For example, if you talk about accents, this becomes a key feature for social judgment. If a person from north and if a person from south in India, So the North Indian people will speak English in a different fluency, in a different accent. But a person from South India, their fluency, their grammatical structures, and their intonation would be different. So this is how language plays a role in social setup. But yeah, it also reflects your history, your memories, your cultural heritage, and your I have already mentioned that in India we have that Act, State Reorganization Act, which was based upon on the language divide in India, and the states were divided on that basis. So, still, it is very prevalent in the southern India. Language worked as in resistance or the cause of resistance. For example, if you take an state of Tamil or Kerala, they are very, very against the Hindi imposition because they want to preserve their cultural heritage by making Tamil or their native languages as the prominent and official language in their all documents. But it is also a kind of cause of resistance, and for the government it is very difficult to tackle because the majority who is traveling from this state to other state, they are unable to speak every language. They can learn, but this multilingualism is also a kind of a concept which plays a role uh, in a positive manner, in negative manner also, because it has both sides. In cultural heritage and linguistic diversity it is very good, but in the concept of challenges we have that language varieties and the difference in those language concepts, that becomes a concept, or that becomes a problem for the government to tackle, to maintain a balance for them. So yeah, language also plays a social role in that country setup and nation setup.
So in Brazil, language is also a tool of resistance, and even though we speak Portuguese, that's the language of our colonizers, we speak a Portuguese with some references of other cultures we were and we are still in touch. So we kind of put like our touch in their language. And it's interesting to see the revival movements in indigenous communities. And we have already heard Valentina talking about it, and we've seen that they have suffered a linguicide. And it's interesting how they are becoming official languages. Unfortunately, we spent a very long time until it finally happened, but it's amazing that this is happening right now. And also, as in India, we have this regional accent, and you can see some identity markers on how the person is speaking. Of course, we have the lexical part, since we are a country, a huge country. There are some people who speak different words in each area, but it's nice that when you listen to the person and how they sound, you already know where this person is from. For example, in Rio de Janeiro, they speak the S as sh. So Professor Isis is from Rio de Janeiro, and she always sound like sh. We say that it's like a chiado. So está muito calor aqui, and the R is like, and in northern they elong vowels. In Santa Catarina, they conjugate the verbs and they say like it's kind of like Portugal, although the conjugation is not very like Portugal. It's a Brazilian conjugation, but it sounds like Portugal. So depending on how the person sounds, you already know where this person is from.
Now, I would like to move to the next slide, which shows the language policies and constitutional framework for Indian context. That this will help us to understand how language rights and how language rights are legally protected. Like the first point is linguistic states recognize reorganization 1956. So it ensures that the state boundaries reflect the linguistic diversity, linguistic identities of India, and strengthening reasoning language. Article 343 to 351 ensures that the Hindi and English are the official languages of India while promoting the linguistic harmony. eighth schedule languages ensures the shows the major languages of India, ensuring their preservation and development. The fourth point is three language formula. The three language formula encourages Indian students to learn their mother tongue, their native language, whatever it is, like that is Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati, Punjabi, and the third one is the global language, which is English, obviously. Fifth point is National Education Policy 2020, in which the students of India emphasize to instruct in their mother tongue and their regional languages in their early schooling.
So in Brazil, we begin with the 1988 Constitution, which protects indigenous rights as well as traditional communities here in Brazil. And we have the Libras, which is the Brazilian Sign Language, which was recognized as an official language in 2002. And we also have the ENDL 2010 documents, which stand for National Inventory of Brazilian Linguistic Diversity, which they advert that in the documents they protect linguistic diversity and as heritage.
Yeah. So the next topic is English dominance in India in Indian context. So, like in India, the dominance of English is very much a strong legacy by the colonial rule, where the English came by the British empowerment, by the British administration, associated English with elite, powerful, and English shows as the primary instruction in the education field, like IITs, IIMS, AIIMS, where it shows the primary instruction, and in corporate world, English shows as the primary function, where people focuses on the multinational companies, MNCs companies, and basically like in job advertisement also, there is a frequently demand of excellence English communication, whether it is a local job opportunity in India.
So as I mentioned before, Brazil is a huge country, so we had to take just a little part, and we decided to talk about how in Foz do Iguaçu, our city, is a city where UniOeste is, we study. There was a study from our professor, Dr. Isis, where she was researching about the center area of Foz do Iguaçu, and she noticed that 77% of the advertisements were in English, and there were signs with names of places, of stores, and we're borders with Paraguay and Argentina, which are Spanish speakers, and we do not see so many things in Spanish. So it was 77% of the advertisements were in English, and in third place we had Spanish with only 7% of the signs in Spanish. And our colleagues have mentioned before how we can see English as a privileged language. So that's also, we can see that also in our city. And even in the signs, when we had more than one language, English was the first one. Here's one example. We have Portuguese and the instruction is in English. And we have lots of people from Paraguay and from Argentina who come here to study, they come here to shop, and they come here to do to live their lives, sometimes even work, and they have to deal with Portuguese or sometimes English, but not their native language.
So yeah, the similar experience we Indians also have in our like daily routines whenever we travel by any bus or train or any transport. We have seen these signboards in a similar way like you have mentioned. For example, I have taken an example of a railway station board, signboard from Tamil Nadu, where the English word is written in the center. That shows how English is dominant in our daily view and captures the prime setup in whole frame. So this English dominance is very prevalent in both nations and very common, while other languages are marked as less important, just because English is a very important language which is globally understood, and each person can easily get what is there written on the signboards. But this also represents how English is becoming very dominant. For example, in other kind of signboards, we have English written on the top than the Hindi or then any native language. This chronology also highlights how the dominance of a particular language can construct a social setup in our daily routines, context, and whatever we are seeing outside the world. And this is the prime example, this is the very important example to understand what English dominance works. So, coming to the very important and very new topic to all of us, which is also the kind of a revolution in our this today's modern world, 21st century, that is digital multilingualism. In Indian context, we have seen the internet growth is there, and it was not always there. It happened due to the help of the government initiatives, that was Digital India initiative in 2015. But also the very important role in Indian context, the growth of internet, the growth of digital media, was the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. So at that time, internet was like booming, and it was like expanding as a huge insect in every house, in every brain. It occupied its space. India became the world's second largest internet population, and that is achievement also, but it also causes certain kind of problems in after pandemic period. But yes, digital India and the digitalization of the world, it eases the relations, it eases the globalization, which becomes easy. Like this is a prime example, important example, or we can say a very relevant example. Like we are communicating through this digital concept, that is Google Meet and internet. That is possible only because of this digital social setup. While we are sharing about Portuguese, Hindi, English, and other kind of languages we share, or the experiences in similar way, that is also important about multilingualism. So this digital multilingualism is very relevant, and this digital growth of internet in India and youth became the like key driver of this particular movement. They mix up certain kind of languages, for example Hindi plus English, that becomes Hinglish. They use in their daily WhatsApp chats and groups, or like Tanglish, Banglish, like Bengali and English, they mixed it and make a Banglish. And they share memes, they share reels. We are contacting each other through WhatsApp, and we are sharing what we can call namaste in Portuguese, that is hola, and in different languages what is a thank you, or such kind of exchange between us, that is also possible just because we have this digital multilingualism concept. So the explosion of local content on YouTube, Instagram, and OTT platforms, that gives a thrive, that gives a catalyst to this particular movement and relations. For example, we say like we mixed particular languages to frame certain kind of communication. For example, we say yeah.
Lit. We are exceeding the limit, I think.
Okay, ma'am,
Please
just
come to conclusion because it's already 7:30. Yeah?
okay, ma'am.
Sorry to disturb.
So
Yeah.
we say that example like yeah, meeting both hectic thing. So in this particular phrase we have meeting and hectic. These are two English words, and other are from Hindi words and written in the phonetics of English. So this represent how this sharing is there in digital multilingualism concept. For example, we have our app Duolingo, which eases the learning of other languages in a very fun way.
So it's lovely talking about digital multilingualism in Brazil because we love expressing ourselves in memes and in this digital communication. So with Portuguese and English, we're creating some new internet slangs, and we have this influence from global pop culture. So we use those languages on TikTok, WhatsApp, Instagram, and sometimes even the antique Twitter. And some words are even getting new meanings in Portuguese. For example, literally in English, you can use to emphasize something or to say that something's literal. But in Portuguese, people are starting saying like, I am literally dead. And first, it would mean the person was literally dead, like physically. But right now, you're just trying to say that it's a feeling and it's how the person is. So it's very interesting. And the digital slangs are spreading so fast that you can understand when somebody is from Gen Z or this person is millennial because the expressions Gen Z use are not the same millennials use. When the expressions go to the millennial people, they're not used to Gen Z anymore. And that's a very interesting fact here. For example, Annelise had mentioned, I guess, about crush. This is an expression we cannot find another thing to express, and we have to update, but we have not any other word that we can replace into to this word. So here are some common factors in the rise of multilingual societies in India and Brazil. So in indigenous linguistic diversity forming the original multilingual base, colonial rule introducing dominant languages, English and Portuguese, migration and trade adding new languages and cultural mixing, religion and cultural contact spreading multilingual practice, education and policy shifts influencing language hierarchies, and digital media and youth culture accelerating hybrid languages and code mixing.
So these are the findings we have in conclusion. Like India and Brazil both shares the similar kind of vibrant multilingual societies where their social linguistic behavior is shaped by history, their policies made by governments, identity, and digital culture. While the youth is also driving that linguistic innovations by creating certain kinds of communication techniques and phrases or words or languages on the social media setup. But yeah, we have that urgent need to preserve our languages, to preserve our culture and our historical heritage. So in the end, we find like multilingualism is a kind of a strength, not a challenge, but we need regulations on this as well. So thank you. We are open for your questions.
Hello everyone, I have a question.
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful, long, detailed insight of you guys. I have a question for you. Any of my Brazilian or my Indian mates can answer this. So, as per your insight, both Brazilian and Indian nationals, if you talk about the countries, so both run on multilingual systems, right? So, India officially recognizes many languages like Bengali, Tamil, and etc., Marathi, etc. But if we talk about Brazil, there's only a dominant language which is Portuguese. So, which model or which way do you think is more effective for national unity and development?
I think it is. I saw somebody saying something like this on the internet lately, and this person was saying like, "Your colonizers did a very good job because the main language is their language." So I think it's very sad, but it's interesting that we're having this movement of bringing back um, those other languages, we are recognizing those other languages so people can keep embracing their culture. Because if we just speak Portuguese, we can like make a linguicide because it happened a lot to indigenous communities. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's my opinion about this topic.
Yeah, okay. So, so you answered me that you want to bring back the languages which you lost because of the colonizers. But here in India, we have our languages preserved as we talk about Bengali. We have 22 official languages here in India, including Bengali, Tamil, Malayalam, etc. So,
I wouldn't say bring back, I would say recognize, because
oh,
they
okay.
were always here, but people wouldn't see them as an official language, you know? Now
Okay.
we're making them
Yeah, yeah,
official.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to add something to the discussion, so it's more like informative. Uh, in Brazil, we have Portuguese as an official national language, and the sign language, as Emily and Valentina have presented. But we have also some co-official languages at the municipal level. So we have over 20 municipalities that have made other languages as co-official languages along with Portuguese. So some of these languages are heritage languages that came from European immigrants, and some others are indigenous languages. So we have, for example, Nhangatu, Tucano, Baniwa as indigenous languages that have been made co-official, and also languages like Hunsrück, German, Italian, which are derived from European immigrant languages. So it's important to state that we do have some other languages that are not official, but co-official, but only in municipal level, not at the federal level. Yes, Valentina?
I was going to add exactly that to Emily. I was going to talk about how in São Gabriel da Cachoeira, which is the city, we have Nhangatu, Baniwa, Tucano, and how we have Talian in the south and southeastern region. And Bento Gonçalves, we have the Pomerode, which Professor Isis did the project on, and I participated. So I was just going to add that also.
Okay, so it's 11 a.m. here in Brazil. I suppose it's a little bit late there in India. It's 7:30. It's a
7:30, yes,
Tuesday.
ma'am.
7:30. So I think it's time for us to end this session. And so as a final comment, I would like to say that I'm very impressed with the presentations of all the groups. At first, when Jaya and I were discussing on how to develop a project, we had this idea. So in fact, the idea came from Jaya Sharma. And so we developed the idea to present to us and to invite all of you. And so I remember Jaya Sharma saying it's new to us as well. So I was kind of insecure about how the project would work, but as though it's new to us as well. So we are going to learn together. And so I'd like to thank so much Jaya Sharma for proposing this. So I know that the distance that separates us were reduced because our willingness to participate, our enthusiasm made the distances be reduced. And so I think I learned a lot. And so I think the students were the ones that learned even more because you provided a deep understanding of your own realities, and you could share perspectives. And I think now the Indians will know many more. I mean, they learned a lot more about Brazil, and so the Brazilians learned a lot more about India and their languages. And so it was very beautiful to see that all the groups presented the differences and similarities about both countries. So I'm very, very happy with this experience. And so Jaya Sharma and I are preparing a Google Forms. So we are going to share with you the link for you to evaluate the project, to talk about the experience. For we need this for reports and for us to evaluate this first activity that we have developed jointly. So thank you so much, all of you. And so I pass the floor to Jaya Sharma.
Yes, I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation for all of you for that spirit of collaborativeness. I would appreciate a lot that I could find that there was no difference among the students of different continents, I think so. So I'm very happy. I did not expect this to be so successful in activity, but I am happy that that kind of depth of research you brought into it and the quality of presentation, all things were so good. So I appreciate you all. Thank you, Swastika, also for moderating the session. And thank you all. Fine. I will try to send your certificate, share your certificate soon, this week or next week. Okay. So, Swastika, please.
Yes. As we are moving forward to closing this session, as I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to all the coordinators, faculty members, and student participants. Your contributions, your ideas, and your enthusiasm have made this session meaningful, vibrant, and memorable. Thank you once again for joining us today. Wishing everyone a wonderful evening in India and and a great morning ahead in Brazil. Have a beautiful day and may we meet again for many more such enriching exchanges. Thank you.
Can we have a photograph? Please switch on your videos. I think somebody, please. Udeshe, can you switch on your cameras?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
You all. And take photographs.
Marina.
Yes. Others also, please. Thank you so much.
Okay, can you please open your hands?
Okay.
So let's print this. Once again, please. Jaya, I can see you. Okay, so how do we say in India? Cheese? I say cheese. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you and congratulations for everybody.
Obrigado, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigada. Thank you so much, professors. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.